Hey, mystery seekers, have you ever wondered about the world's most intriguing unsolved mysteries? From ghost ships to ancient cities lost underwater, these mysteries will leave you speechless. Today, we're diving deep into the top 6 new mysteries that still baffle experts and captivate our imaginations. But hey, wait, please have you subscribed my channel? Still not. Go and kindly do subscribe my channel and also hit the bell icon for interesting content. Now, let's start the video. Most of you have listened about Jack the Ripper, the infamous serial killer who terrorized the streets of London's Whitechapel district in 1888 and remains one of the most mysterious criminals in the history. Jack the Ripper's reign of terror occurred during a period of significant social and economic upheaval in London. The East End, where the murders took place, was a densely populated area, rife with poverty, crime, and disease. The victims, all of whom were women and most of whom were prostitutes, were killed in a particularly gruesome manner, with their throats slashed and their bodies mutilated. The police investigations at the time were led by Inspector Frederick Aberline of the Metropolitan Police. Despite their best efforts, the investigators faced numerous challenges, including a lack of forensic technology, limited understanding of criminal psychology, and a community that was often hostile to police efforts. Letters purportedly from the killer, such as the Dear Boss letter and the From Hell letter, further complicated the investigation. These letters, if genuine, provided a glimpse into the mind of the killer, but were also a potential source of misinformation and distraction. Modern forensic science and psychological profiling have offered new insights, but no definitive answers. The mystery of Jack the Ripper's identity continues to captivate the public. Despite over a century of investigation, the true identity of this Victorian-era killer remains shrouded in mystery. Imagine an ancient city lost to the depths of the sea for over a millennium, shrouded in mystery and waiting to be rediscovered. Our next mystery revolves around the Thonis-Heracleion, a thriving Egyptian port, lay hidden beneath the Mediterranean until its astonishing discovery in 2000. Near modern Alexandria, this city flourished around the 18th century, bustling with trade and religious activity. Named after the hero Hercules and the Egyptian god Thonis, it was a vital hub of commerce and culture. Natural disasters and rising sea levels eventually caused Thonis-Heracleion to sink. The underwater ruins, including statues, inscriptions, and shipwrecks, have unveiled a treasure trove of history. These findings reveal the city's significance in ancient times, offering a captivating glimpse into a world long forgotten and the relentless power of nature. Let's imagine a ghost ship found on the open sea. It is totally empty, and there is no crew present. The Mary Celeste, an American merchant brigantine, set sail from New York in November 1872, bound for Genoa, Italy. Mysteriously, it was found abandoned off the coast of Portugal in December of the same year. The ship was intact, with its cargo of alcohol barrels largely undisturbed, and no signs of violence or struggle. The crew's personal belongings, food, and water supplies were still on board, but the lifeboat was missing. Numerous theories have been proposed, from pirate attacks and mutiny to natural disasters and supernatural events, but none fully explain the crew's disappearance. The mystery of the Mary Celeste continues to intrigue and baffle, a maritime enigma that has inspired countless tales of the sea. We all know about the great Alexander, his glories and warrior qualities. By the age of 32, Alexander the Great had swept across Asia, conquering a region from the Balkans to Pakistan and ruling over the biggest empire in the ancient world. Then, in 323, he died, and his empire fell like a house of cards. The ruler was felled by an illness in Babylon. Historical documents suggest one of his generals brought his body back to ancient Egypt 2 years later, and that his body was held in the city of Memphis, while a tomb was built for him in Alexandria. However, no one knows exactly where that iconic tomb is located. Some have suggested it is sunk beneath the waves because it was built in the palace's district that is now submerged. If that's the case, it may have been destroyed by millennia of both human and natural forces, experts previously told Live Science. Even if it were to be found, there would likely be few identifying marks proving the tomb belonged to Alexander. The ancient historians who described the building of the tomb left little physical description of it, so researchers may need an intact inscription to identify the tomb. Have you ever seen heavy stones moving by their own self? Your answer is definitely no. The stones in Death Valley, some as big as 700 pounds, seem to move on their own, leaving long tracks behind them. Scientists have now determined it happens through a combination of wind and ice. Since the 1940s, people have been scratching their heads about the apparently strange goings-on in a dry lake bed in Death Valley called the Racetrack Playa. There, every 10 years or so, stones as big as 700 pounds mysteriously seem to move around on their own. Finally, though, in 2011, researchers from Scripps Institution of Oceanography, since the National Park Service wouldn't allow them to attach GPS devices to the rocks themselves, they brought in 15 similarly sized pieces of stone and monitored them. It took 2 years, but they finally got the answer. In wintertime, the playa sometimes fills up with a thin layer of water from rainfall, which freezes overnight and forms thin sheets of ice. When the sun comes out the next day, the ice melts and cracks into panels that light winds then blow across the ice, carrying the rocks with them. But the stones typically slide at a speed of only a few inches per second, slowly enough that visitors can't really see the movement from a distance. For centuries, people wondered how the ancient Egyptians were able to build the pyramid. In 2014, physicists determined workers could have hauled the blocks using sleds on water-moistened sand. Proponents of the hypothesis that human civilization had been jump-started by extraterrestrial visitors pointed to the Egyptian pyramids as persuasive evidence. The ancient Egyptians could not have moved those massive multi-ton stone blocks with just muscle power. They argued and suggested that alien anti-gravity technology was a more plausible explanation. Fortunately, in 2014, University of Amsterdam physicists materialized to rescue us from paperback pap pseudoscience. By analyzing an ancient tomb drawing, they figured out that a large team of workers could have hauled the giant stone blocks on a sled and poured water on the sand in their path to reduce the friction and make it possible to drag the blocks to the pyramid. A small amount of water would cause the sand to become glued together and create a sort of paved road. Other researchers also have suggested that the Egyptians used clay as a lubricant, and it may be that they used more than one method. But which method was exactly used which put the giant block on one another? It is still a mystery that challenges our imagination. There you have it. Which mystery you like intensify, you tell us in the comments section. Also, like the video and subscribe to our channel for more interesting content like this. So goodbye from all of us. See you in the next interesting video.